1, 2, 3.
Yeah!
Move up, move it, move up, move it, move up, move it, move up. Well, she sneaks around the world from Miami to Carolina. She's a sticky finger culture from Berlin down to Belize. Take you for a ride on the boat to China. Tell me where in the world is
Carmen, Sandiego.
There's only South Korea, thinking on it, cause Ryan come from the Red Sea to Greenland, till they're singing the blues. Or will they never Arkansas still? The beat come from a jungle, tell me where in the world. To Norway, but air to Zimbabwe, Chicago to Czechoslovakia, and back. Well, she'll ransack Pakistan and Afghanistan and Scandinavia, then just stick 'em up down under and go big pocket bird. She was a missing misdemeanor when she stole the beans from Lima. Tell me where in the world is
Carmen, Sandiego.
well, tell me where in the world. Come on, tell me where can she be? Botswana to Thailand, Milan via Amsterdam, Mali to Bali, Ohio. Oh, whoa. Oh, Warren. Oh, Warren. Oh, Warren. Oh, Warren. Ooh, the cheese. Ooh, the cheese. And it makes us think, yeah. And it makes us think, ooh. And it makes us think, yeah. And it makes us think,
And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Rogue Report. I'm your host, the Dashing Rogue. And tonight, we're going to have a little bit of fun. Let's see. Let's take that off. There you go. Tonight, we're going to find out where has Gavin gone. Well, it turns out, we got him, ladies and gentlemen. We got him. We found out exactly where he's at. We found out exactly where he's been. At least according to him. And we also have some speculation shit. More of an alternative history sort of thing. Like, let me just say this. For all the talk about, for all the talk of fake news and stuff like that, if you actually read it and knowing it's fucking fake news, it's actually quite entertaining. It's kind of like an alternate reality version of what's actually going on. So let's get to what we're actually on about today. Give me 1 second. Let's a little bit more people in here today. Okay. So for those of you who need to know, this was Rockapella, and they were the people who did the whole Carmen Sandiego theme song. Great people, I like them. Now, Tim Pool. I watched this earlier today, and I don't know if the news just comes out faster than actual events, or if Gavin is just a fucking crazy motherfucker and he's like one step ahead of everybody. But apparently the whole reason we're doing this whole podcast is specifically because Gavin Newsom has disappeared since October 27th. No one has seen him. He hasn't made public appearances until today. So when Tim Pool runs his mouth about
California Governor Gavin Newsom is missing. He's gone. Nobody knows where he is. Official reports are that he was at some wedding and he's doing family stuff. But a lot of people aren't buying it. And I think it's fair to say I don't buy it either, but I don't know.
I don't buy it either. I don't buy it either. Like, I personally don't think that this guy is legit. Not Tim Pool, but Tim Pool I have my own personal opinions of, but I am of the opinion that Gavin Newsom was almost certainly like hit by the second booster shot and got really, really hit by it and hurt. That's my opinion. I mean, let me just say this. When Gavin, like, one of the things you're going to realize about Gavin, he is one happy camper. I mean, look at that. Look at that face. Who gets into a smiling face like that? Like, that is the horse that, that's the kid who stole from the cookie jar.
Tell you, I can't tell you exactly what's going on with the guy. The reason this story is actually a story is because the last public appearance he had was after getting a COVID booster shot, and now there are rumors that he developed Guillain-Barré syndrome. There is absolutely no evidence to suggest that's true. We don't know what happened, but we do know that he canceled some very high-profile public appearances, notably talking about climate change, and a lot of people said there's no way he would cancel an opportunity to look presidential, because basically...
Real talk real quick. Why the hell is Gavin Newsom going to Scotland, right? He was supposedly going to a climate summit in Scotland. He's a fucking Californian governor. I don't know much, but I know this. Like, if I went to, let's say, Russia on the behalf of the United States government, I would almost certainly be laughed out of the room. And if I was, let's say, a senator from the United States government, I'd have a bit more clout because I'm representing the people, right? Gavin Newsom does not represent the people in any meaningful way. He represents California, perhaps. Whether you think that's good or bad is irrelevant. But he does not have the right to go to a foreign country to talk about climate change. I mean, that could have been done through Zoom. He could have been talking on the behalf with, a California tech company, but he didn't do that, did he?
Gavin Newsom may be the only thing Democrats have as a potential 2024 nominee. I mean, some people are saying Buttigieg, but I think that's nuts. Why would Gavin Newsom vanish so suddenly? I mean, I got to be honest with you guys. If it were not for the New York Times and Fox News both asking the same question, I probably wouldn't look into it. But I think there's some interesting questions as it pertains to California and their policies and their mandates and what's been going on with COVID. But I think the simple solution could just be, I don't know, maybe someone in his family died and he took time off.
Well, the official story that I've heard, and this is something that was on Twitter, and we're going to get to it in a little bit, was the Marines fucking had a confrontation with the piece of shit. Like, literally, the Marines were going to war with him. Now, that was the fake news section. We're going to get to that in a bit. But, again, turns out everyone was talking about him. Not just little beanie man, but even CNN was asking. California Governor Gavin Newsom says he canceled his trip to the climate summit after an intervention from his kids. So let's see. CNN, amid a swirl of questions about his absence, the public eye over the past week, Governor Gavin Newsom said Tuesday that he decided to cancel his plans to attend the United Nations Climate Summit in Scotland. Why, oh why, is Gavin Newsom allowed? Why is he allowed to go to Scotland? Real talk. Welcome, Vinny, by the way. Why is he allowed to go to Scotland? Real talk. Like again, the guy is a governor. Is the Arizona the governor? Is she allowed to go to? Are they allowed to go to frickin' Scotland? Is Ron DeSantis allowed to go to Germany to protest, let's say, the Nord Stream 2 pipeline? Like, at what point is this a mission creep, and at what point is this just you not doing your job and borderline treasonous? Because he doesn't, again, I want to say this. He represents the people of California. That much we could say for certain, because he was elected. Nobody elected this piece of shit to go to Scotland, okay? So he declined to go to Scotland after what he described as an intervention from his kids who couldn't believe he was going to miss Halloween. So that's basically the main story from Gavin Newsom. Oh, my kids and I were going. I wanted to go trick or treating with my kids. Don't you know? Like last year, you weren't there, Dad, because we were all under lockdown essentially. And apparently, the Democrat governor who spent much of the summer campaigning against the ultimately unsuccessful effect to remove him from office. Which I'll just say, I don't think he did much campaigning. I just think that we had a bunch of chuckleheads who didn't know what the fuck they were doing and didn't know the actual talking points, but that's just me. Spoke about the pull of his responsibilities as a father and as a husband during an in-person appearance in the California Economic Summit in Monterey. And we're going to get to that. He actually did come out of the woodworks to speak in Monterey. Now, we're going to get to that in a bit, but well, let's just say that one thing we have to understand about fake news is, let's see if I can find it here.
But you know the old Russian proverb, trust but verify. And the Americans think that Ronald Reagan thought that up.
He did not. And the reason you trust but verify is because I saw so much. Like, this is some of the things that was pushed around on the internet. Now, the main reason, the telltale sign that you could see that this is bullshit is this is a WordPress blog. Yeah, right there. WordPress. This was being pushed around like gospel. Now, I'm going to read this off because I know it's fake news. Don't sue me, Wojcicki. Please don't hurt me, Wojcicki. I am a humble proletariat. Please don't hurt me. I just want to live my life and, I just want to grill, okay? So, this is from the Real Raw News, which apparently has a FEMA mandate, which has chapter 1 like it's a fucking story. Like it's a freaking fanfic. So that's what this is. It is one of the most fanficky stories out there. Again, this is fake news. For those who don't actually believe that this is fake news, again, fake news. So, military arrests bedridden Gavin Newsom. The United States Marines arrested the disgraced Governor Gavin Newsom on November 1st, delivering another major blow to the deep state's hegemony, plans to impose permanent lockdowns and enslave the law-abiding American citizens. The arrest, Real News can now report, took place on Newsom's lavish $4 million estate in Fair Oaks, California, days after he received a COVID booster shot and fell violently ill. Last week, his last public appearance was on October 27th. This is true. Was a public relation stunt that showed him getting his third vaccination on October 31st. His Twitter account, which may have been controlled by persons other than Newsom, tweeted a photo of his family adorned in Halloween costumes. Again, even the MSM publicly, such as the Daily Mail, have raised concerns over Newsom's unexplainable silence. The media sources speaking under the promise of anonymity told, which by the way is bullshit, trust but verify, again, ladies and gentlemen, trust but verify, and sources or it didn't happen. Promise under anonymity told RRN that Newsom became seriously ill 36 hours following the shot, but opted to try to recuperate at home rather than admitting himself into a hospital. When the Office of Military Commissions learned Newsom was weakened and without much protection, they decided to act, our source said. Which, again, show your fucking source. Again, Wolf, this is fucking fake news. And I'll tell you, it just goes to show you there are certain people out there who, you could very well say they're in a different fucking universe. Because at this point, this is way more interesting than what actually fucking happened, according to the record. And again, I don't know how much of this is fucking real, because apparently they found a child porn dungeon found in Newsom's basement, which I don't think is the case. I think this is, again, it's a fucking WordPress blog. It's in the icon, and we could see your shit real raw news. About as raw as fucking, McDonald's. During the early morning of November 1st, an unknown number of Marines sent by the United States Marine Force Special Command infiltrated Newsom's estate and engaged two California state police officers who have been assigned to guard the deep state governor. No media silence. No one was talking about this. And it's getting to the point where people are so fucking skeptical of this shit. And by the way, I'm going to have to go back here. It's the Delta raids Biden compound in Ukraine. We're going to have to look into this because for all I know, this is bullshit, not even fake news, but like deliberately I believe this is bullshit. Like I believe this I'm going to look more into this site. I'm going to actually bookmark this site at one point. Bookmark it here. Because let's be frank, this stuff is just too good. This guy will be an endless source of fucking news. Of bullshit. These the Marines, our sources said, which again he doesn't say, they never state the sources here. There's no fucking sources here. This is just the donation link, which we're not going to give him anything. Let's see. The sources said offered state police a chance to surrender, but the officers drew sidearms and forced Marines to respond with lethal force. Oh my God, this would have been all over the fucking news. People would have heard shots fired, and he'd be fucking fired, But again, this is supposedly what happened according to the Real News. And I saw this circulating on Twitter. The boomers bought it. I fucking immediately called bullshit the moment they talked about how the Marines supposedly fucking killed state police, which that in itself is a fucking treasonous act. I mean, we would have fucking seen it everywhere. Let me see. Someone in the chat is BitPay is a good alternative to PayPal. I am not certain about that. I still use PayPal. Just don't fucking... Again, most of the stuff you could still use, just wait until you become famous. Like, when you become like Styx or Carl Benjamin or Sargon or fuck Lauren Chen, you'll get to that point where you actually might be censored. But for average everyday use, don't worry about it. Again, your trust but again, like I said, trust but verify. Let's see. Parker says, I believe that he has cheese pizza. I don't believe he just leave it where anyone could find it. Yeah, I'm of the opinion that he's full of shit also. But at the same time, like, how much of this is stupidity and how much of this is him just being a fucking... How much of him is being evil and being stupid? Like, I'm of the opinion that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is just stupid. She's not evil. I think she won over, honestly. But I think that ultimately she's tasting good in the neighborhood for the first time in her life. And why the hell wouldn't she be a career politician? Is this a damn Q site? I don't know. It's called Real Raw News, and this was being circulated, and I actually had to look this guy up because, again, it's a fucking WordPress blog. This is like the fucking LARPiest shit I've ever seen. I'm gonna get back to what they said. I'm gonna get through this real quick because, let's be frank, I don't want to go all through this crap. Alrighty, so let's see. Marines arrested him. A military source speaking under the promise of anonymity told RI News because... No, we already saw that. Let's see. Both officers took multiple hits, killing them, and no Marines were wounded in a brief firefight. Again, this would have been public news everywhere. This would have been all around the... These would have been shots heard around the world in the context of... this would have been shots heard around the world in the context of... I agree with you, Wolf. AOC is evil, but that doesn't mean she's smart. You know, you could be stupid and be evil. Okay, look at Christian. All right. Let's see. Having dispatched Newsom's security, the Marines navigated the residence and spotted Newsom's wife Jennifer and her 4 children dashing down the hallway that ended in a false wall leading to a safe room, a fortified room that installed in a private residence or business to provide a safe shelter or hiding place for inhabitants in the event of a break-in, home invasion, tornado, terror attack, or other threat. Wouldn't it be funny if we took them to the land of Oz? Wouldn't that be funny if they all just get whisked away into the fucking Wizard of Oz land? Mrs. Newsom and their children entered the panic room before the Marines were able to catch and interrogate them, our sources said. Well, if that's the case, why didn't you fucking use thermite to blow the fucking safe open? Seriously, like, we could do that shit. Just throw some C4, some Jeep stuff down. The soldiers cleared the rest of the place, and they found Gavin Newsom and his private physician in the master bedroom. The doc threw his hands in the air immediately and said he was just there to care for Newsom and he didn't want any trouble, our sources said. Who the fuck is your source? A bedridden Newsom lie on his back in an intubation tube stuck down his throat and a nasal, I don't even know what the fuck that is, cannula jammed in his nostrils. Beside the bed stood the array of portable patient monitors. Again, you see how they're making this look really, really, really... Yeah, they go to evil Narnia. Excellent. That's exactly... You get a buff for that, man. You get it awesome. That's awesome. You get a seal of approval for that. When the Marines said that they were talking to Newsom, the doctors warned them that he'd die if he disconnected for the life support equipment. The corpsmen in the teams radioed for aid, and the military ambulance soon arrived. Oh, by the way, there is no military ambulance. That's bullshit. Again, just get a fucking... Again, National Guard. Why the fuck weren't they there? They took Newsom and the doctor presumably to question from the home. They didn't try to get his wife and kids through, our sources said. Newsom was taken to an unknown facility for treatment, and when medically fit, we will be processed by JAG. Oh god, this is boomer posting shit. They're talking about JAG. And sent to Guantanamo Bay to face military tribunal. Yeah, he's going to Guantanamo Bay, a place that's a black site for the CIA and ultimately is outside of U.S. jurisdiction, right? So why don't they just take him to D.C. or take him to like the Capitol and try him there? Again, I already know this is fake news, ladies and gentlemen. You don't need to. Again, this is fake news. Again, fucking WordPress, right there. Asked why the Marines simply didn't pull the plug if the Marines intended to seek capital punishment. Our sources said that wasn't their job. Newsom may have answers we need. If he survives, he will face the same charges Cuomo did. Okay, so basically, what, rape accusations? Okay. Meanwhile, the MSM has blamed Newsom's lengthy silence to failing obligations and an obvious lie. You are fake news. RRN needs reader support. No, you don't. You need to die the way of the dodo. Again, 15,000 visits today. Almost 150,000. Almost 160, almost 170,000 fucking times this was visited. Military. Okay, we're gonna look into this next time. We're gonna do a whole show on this fucking. This is an endless treasure trove of fun and games. But like I said, like we always say.
But you know the old Russian proverb: trust but verify.
Indeed. No, but apparently, according to the Gavin Newsom's fucking Twitter account, and this is the governor of California's Twitter account, he's been tweeting, and he's alive. Oh God, he's still alive. But where did we find him? Wolf and Prepper says IRL fanfiction is a subtype of fanfiction that writes stories about IRL people in events. I hope it is. I really hope it is a fanfic blog. I really, really hope it is. Because for all I fucking know, like you want to talk about, I would never write fanfic about Gavin Newsom. I would never write fanfic about any real life people, specifically because this day and age, you will get sued or you will fucking get, go to Guantanamo for fucking doing this. That Biden is basically, Biden can't take a joke. None of these people can take a joke, Mainly Hit says Michael Savage used to call him two-some Newsom. I call him the American Cycle, Patrick Bateman, Nikolai from fucking Nikolai Carpathia from fucking Left Behind. That's who he always reminded me of. Let's see, Oscar Toe. I think you would replace that icon if you were a free WordPress press site plan. This site is so lazy. Yeah, it is. And we're going to give it as much signal boosting as we can to prove a fucking point that this type of crap, if it's shared, is legitimately, it's harmful. It's harmful because there are people like Tim Pool who actually, and even Krigler, I would say, Adam Krigler, who try to get the news out there and try to get it out truthfully and effectively. Shit like fucking our fucking real raw news is absolute bullshit. In fact, I'm going to go to the contact pages to fuck with them. Alrighty. Oh, Michael at Real Raw News. Yeah, I might say, why do you suck? Why do you suck? I'm not going to send it. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to harass him. But where did we find Newsom? Well, we found Newsom where you'd think we'd find him. In a 501 subscriber Cal Forward. Now, what is this Cal Forward shit? Well, Cal Forward is a .org group, and apparently the last thing they uploaded was 4 months ago. So no wonder we haven't heard from them. Let's see. So let's actually listen to this. I'll skip ahead a bit. Because when I first thought I was going to see Gavin Newsom again, I was thinking to myself, he's going to be frowning. He's not going to have the perfect smile anymore. He's going to be frowning. But apparently I was wrong. Let's do this here. Where are you?
All right.
Here we go. Nope. No.
And this, I think what makes this summit unique and special is you're not just...
Oh, here we go.
They're here. All right, perfect.
Now they're walking like...
By the way, for the record, we've been back there. They were, so we were not as late as it may appear like.
That's right. We were early.
We were.
Right. So, Governor Newsom, thanks for joining us.
Good to be back with you.
Yeah, can you believe this is the 10th Economic Summit, and you were the co-chair from the beginning, and
From the beginning.
come a long ways.
I remember those days. And
What do you like?
congratulations, and,
What do you
this
need to have an
makes
economic
this
summit?
unique and
What do you like? What would I have to do? Like, if I could like pull a bunch of people together and get into, let's say, have a rally at Berkeley, can we call it an economic summit? Like, can we have like a cryptocurrency summit, like in Las Vegas or something like that? I would love to do that sometime.
special is you're not just dreamers, you're doers. These are the folks on the front line. Each and every one of you are out there every single day doing the hard work. We often talk in politics about what and why, not enough about how. And I think what distinguishes this summit and so many of the leaders in this room is you're on the ground working region by region, focusing on collaboration, focusing on supporting one another, building capacity and partnerships. And that's why I wouldn't want to miss it and didn't miss it this year.
Well, thank you for coming. And before we get into the substance, I have to ask you the question that everybody has been dying to ask you.
Boxers. Sorry.
Thongs.
What were you for Halloween?
Oh, I was a pirate, but I should have gotten an extra large outfit, so it wasn't that impressive. But we all were pirates this year, and
I'm pretty sure you're a pirate every year, Gavin.
it was actually, it's interesting to even ask that question because it does beg some questions that have been asked interestingly to me in the last few days. It's been a hell of a couple years for all of us, for each and every one of you, particularly parents. And I want to speak particularly to the parents out here. The fits and starts at schools, the stresses of balancing your responsibilities at work and also your responsibilities at home. And I'd extend those responsibilities particularly to fathers that may not be doing as much, let's be honest, as the moms have been doing in the last few years.
Well, that's patriarchal nonsense, Gavin. I think that COVID shot's gone to your head. We all know that women are supreme.
And balancing the responsibilities at home. And, I've been on this damn treadmill. We've gone from crisis to crisis, and from wildfires and extremes, from droughts and social justice and unrest, obviously with COVID.
Social justice, really it should, again, you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Droughts, fires, and tornadoes are the same fucking category as social justice. You can take it to the bank.
Had this recall you may have read about. And right after that recall, we just jumped right back into it. We had all those bills, 3 weeks of intensity around bill signing, and I signed up to go to Europe, and I was ready to go, and I had that dinner. A lot of you know this dinner with the family, and the kids literally, they kind of had an intervention. They said they couldn't believe that I was going to miss Halloween. And we got a 5-year-old, oldest is 12, 4 young kids, and I'm defending myself. I got to go, this and that, and my wife was going to go as well. And
Gotta get that Greta Thunberg pussy.
mom and dad missing Halloween. For them, it's like worse than Christmas, missing Christmas. And I woke up that next morning with something that's probably familiar to a lot of parents, that knot in your stomach, that I had no damn choice. I had to cancel that trip. And I appreciate it. And so not only did I get that costume, not only did I go trick-or-treating, I enjoyed the weekend. All four play soccer at the Boo Fest. Anyone from Sacramento knows what the Boo Fest is, this big soccer tournament. And I was able to bring the kids to work last week. I was at work all week last week, and I have pictures of selfies. I had never done a selfie in front of the bear mask. In front of the...
If you did a Gavin, can we get your Instagram account? And yeah, we all know you have an Instagram account, you fucking perv. But real talk, did anyone actually in the alternative media as well as the mainstream media? Because let's be frank, the mainstream media was wondering what the fuck is he, all right? Did anyone manage to check his fucking Instagram account? I will look into that later on, probably tomorrow, because I'm going to see if Gavin Newsom actually does have an Instagram account. And if nobody fucking checked his Instagram account, I'm going to fucking grill Tim Pool. I might even, strangle him with his own fucking beanie. And Krigler will help me.
Governor's office with my kids and walked up, pro tip, not many people around the Capitol this week, but go up to the pro tem's office. She gives away coloring books to all kids. So I was a father of the year for that. And
they give coloring books away to adults as well, Gavin.
And we've been just diving deep into port issues, diving deep into my biggest anxiety, which is the winter surge. Focus on that. Issues of vaccine boosters, not just boosters, but making sure we get more of the unvaccinated vaccinated, including 5 to 11. Focusing on the budget. Budget for me is due in a few weeks. Next year's budget. I got to get to the printer in the next few weeks, and catching up after a pretty intense period of time.
Printer go brum.
With my family, myself, my team, and it's been probably the most productive week I've had since I've been governor.
That's great. Well, You weren't abducted by aliens or had...
No, there were some Twitter accounts that I think we'd all do well taking some time away from social media. That was just a thought. A hell of a thing.
So the California economy, let's talk about that since we're at the California Economic Summit.
Yeah.
How do you think about California's economic strategy, and where are we on the recovery path?
Look, I'm inherently going to be a booster because I'm biased as governor, but I'm also biased as a fifth generation California. I'm biased, as many of you know, as a small business owner myself. That's had the privilege of creating about 1,000 jobs, 21 plus businesses in this state. And I, again, always say this, I'm not saying that to impress any of you, but to impress them.
Did he really create the jobs or just enable the market to create the jobs? Like, real talk. Like, this guy, I don't think he created the jobs. And even then, what type of jobs? We're talking like H-1B visa jobs that only last 2 or 3 months. I mean, that counts as a job. Dig ditching counts as a job. I mean, I want my job back. I know there are people out there who want their fucking job back. I mean, I still have my job. But, you know, again, no one buys this shit anymore. I mean, look at the fucking... Of course, the fucking comments are turned off, and this is just for kids. But, of course, you know, I'm not going to say people to downvote this, but if you want to go look at this and back it up, just in case for, you know, for solidarity or whatever the fuck it might be, I would very much recommend people do that.
Upon you my passion for entrepreneurialism, economic and workforce development. It's not an intellectual exercise. It's not something I looked at a poll to determine was a priority for you and should be for me. It's been the cause of my life. And it's something to be celebrated, that entrepreneurial spirit, that innovative spirit. And it's alive and well in the state of California. And let me just back that up, because these are things you don't see on One American News and, you know, Fox. California has no peers, continues to have no peers. We are world-beating in terms of our economic growth. In the last 5 years, no other Western democracy has outperformed the state of California. The United States has not. Germany, Japan, the UK, no other Western democracy has outperformed this state in your economic output. 21% GDP over the last 5 years. With all due respect to states like Texas, eat your heart out, a modest 12%.
California secession 2022. I'm calling it.
That's California. Once again, and forgive me, guys, but once again, number one in innovation, number one in business startups, dominating in every category. Fastest growing companies, the most influential companies of the world. Read Fortune, read Time, read those studies. Dominating in terms of economic recovery. No state in America has created more jobs since January than the state of California. 812,000 jobs.
I think DeSantis would have something to say about that, but...
We're the tentpole of the American economic recovery. 44% of America's jobs, 44% in August came out of the state of California. Record-breaking.
Came out of California, or did they come from California?
Capital, 50+%. That's double the next 3 states combined. Better economic performance versus Texas. In the last 18 months, they grew at a third of the rate of the state of California. Better economic and health outcomes than Florida, Texas, Indiana, and the U.S.
You want on,
since the
Wolf?
pandemic. It's just...
You want on? I don't know if I can let you on, man. I mean, I don't know how I could get that shit done. I'd have to... Let me see if I can get you on. Give me 1 second. Get you on, buddy. I'll get you on. Let me call you up on fucking... I'll get you on via Skype. Can you get on Skype? No, let's not get on Skype. Let's do fucking Discord. Let me get this shit in order. I'll get you on, Wolf. We'll get you on. Why not? I'm starting the video call, okay? Oh, you're at work? Well, you'll come on later on, then. We'll do it later on, then.
Just remarkable how obsessed some are with trying to trip California up and to identify areas of weakness when we still dominate. Number one in household income. Number one in factory jobs.
I know millionaires who literally can't afford to fucking make rent, Gavin. I know people like myself. I'm making $70K a fucking year, and I'm still struggling in this fucking economy. This shit economy that you fucking made.
13% GDP growth, better than the next 10 manufacturing states in the last 5 years. No state creating more factory jobs than the state. Number one in direct foreign investment. We dominate in exports and imports. 43% of the world's imports coming through the state of California, 31% of the exports. You look across the sector. Look what's happening in aerospace, and look what SpaceX just did, 6.5 acre.
Yeah, you know, if you listen to this guy, Oscar, you'd absolutely agree this sounds like a fucking utopia. It sounds like it. But in reality, it's more like fucking Rapture from fucking Bioshock. Everyone's on drugs and shit, and everyone's firing magical missiles at each other, and people are shooting each other to steal. And they're also abducting kids. Gotta remember that shit as well.
Procurement, down there in Long Beach, a new facility. Look at the investments that are taking place in Silicon Valley and down in Hollywood. The merger of the two dominating. Think about it. Not just Netflix, Disney Plus. Think about Hulu. Think about Peacock and the investments that have been made in the state and the commitments Universal is making in the state of California. Look what Skype, or rather Zoom and Stripe and AppFolio have committed to the state. $1 billion investment that Google's making. Those things don't even get headlines because they're table stakes in so many ways. Even that company that left California, left us, there's some company that left California, didn't take one job, in fact, doubled down on investing in more jobs in the state of California. 50% increase in production coming out of the Tesla facility based on their new commitments. They opened a new factory down in Southern California, about 1,000 new jobs, new R&D investments here in the state of California. Still have 5,000 folks that work here. By the way, there's 34 EV manufacturing companies besides Tesla in the state of California.
Yep.
Dominating in electric vehicles and green energy. So
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, a company I have it by good word that a company that I worked for that was an automotive or autonomous vehicles. I can't say which one. I heard that they haven't been in autonomy since the beginning of this pandemic, since I left, in fact, which was back in like 2018, 2019, right? And yeah, so again, I don't know what the fuck they're doing besides, taking government handouts and constantly changing their freaking homepage so that way they could say they made a product and run it at a loss.
I honestly, and no BS, I know I lost half you on this, but it's a point of pride. Every single thing I just said, look it up, facts. 8.9% per capita annualized household income growth. It's just these things don't exist in other parts of the country and around the rest of the world. That's your state. Number one, in so many categories, yes, we struggle in other areas, and that's what you're all about. But I'm really, really proud of the resiliency of all of you, the resiliency of our
I have a friend who, let me just say this. I have a friend who knows Gavin, and she's actually been on the internet, she's actually met the guy. If I encounter her again, I'm actually going to ask to meet Gavin. I'm going to actually try to ask him and say, hey, I have a podcast. Would you like to come on? And we just, fucking level the guy, just jump the motherfucker. I actually want to do that. And I might even tell him about the Russians if he's willing to listen,
business leaders and the resiliency of 40 million Californians that are responsible for all of those data points that I just advanced.
So you're not really passionate about this or anything?
I love it. Look, I mean, we've said it a million times. There's the American dream and only one other state that attaches itself to the dream. California dream, and it's still alive and well. You've heard me 1,000 times, but it needs to be repeated. And I don't know that I need to repeat it. You saw how many new Nobel laureates came out of the state of California in the last few months. We dominate in engineers and researchers and scientists. Dominate in R&D. Dominate in R&D. The future still is invented here. 5-to-1 green.
Research and development doesn't mean jack shit, Gavin. It doesn't. You can research all you want, but if you don't put a product to market, who gives a fuck? All you're doing is taking government funds and grants and shit, and taking other people's money to do research. Okay, fine, whatever. But until you put a product to market, I don't want to hear any lip from you.
Collar jobs compared to fossil fuel jobs. We're dominating this transition. We're skating where the puck is going. I mean,
Yeah, where the puck is it going?
And so I hope we could stop beating ourselves up. Because, my mom used to say this when I was a kid, you're nothing but a mirror of your consistent thoughts. Whatever you focus on, you'll find more of. That's why everyone's so damn miserable watching Fox. I mean, you have to be miserable and stressed, and the world's coming to an end, and they're going to take away your textbooks and your guns, and all this nonsense, this mishigosh.
Well, let me just say this about that. He's not wrong. I mean, a lot of the political extremes on both the left and the right have kind of become neurotic in the last couple of weeks. I've kind of gone to the point where I'm more centrist, and that's mostly because I have to be, because I believe that there are people out there who legitimately are trying to undermine us, and they're using the extremes on both the left and the right to undermine our country. So I've had to become a moderate, but I still have principles. It just means that sometimes our principles aren't going to always align.
This is America today. But I hope, we're a bit of an antidote to that. I'm proud of this state. I'm proud of rural California. I'm proud of Republicans, independents, not just Democrats. I'm proud of the people that voted against me in the recall. I'm proud they called California home. I love this state. And I just think we need to start focusing on what's right. We'll address what's wrong. We know issues of affordability. That's the number one issue that connects more problems than any other issue. But also it's notable. Do you know what our poverty rate dropped in 2020? Does anyone focus on, where's the headlines on this? Poverty in the state of California went from 16.2 to 12.3%, the supplemental poverty index. There's never been a reduction in poverty like that over a calendar year in the state of California.
Heuristics. What are your heuristics? Don't publish your statistics, publish your heuristics.
We got 44,000 people into housing last year. Didn't feel like it, I get that, but that's unprecedented in California history. I signed 30 housing bills this year. We have a $22 billion investment in affordable housing and homelessness, unprecedented in our state's history by multiples. We have strategies, plans, accountability at the local level for the first time, requirement that you have a plan. If you don't actually produce results, you don't get paid. we're changing the paradigm. And so I just hope we start changing our paradigm of thinking a little bit as well. Because, Lenny and I were talking about this has been a hard year and a half for all of you. And winter is coming. Winter is coming.
Fuck you. You're not Rob. You know what? I hope to God he is like Rob Stark, or not Rob Stark, Ned Stark. I hope he does become like, I don't know. Well, winter is coming, like he said, he's a corporate shill. He is. He absolutely is a corporate shill. He's an example of what happens when you combine blue money with technology. He's the blue money Democrat, and he's helping people.
I mean, COVID is not taking the weight
Or
off.
rather, corporations, if you
Ask
count
folks in
corporations
Germany.
as people.
Breaking numbers today. Ask what just happened. Shut down a week in Russia. The EU. See what's happening. Ask my friend Jared Polis in Colorado. They're less than 10% of their ICU beds right now. What's happening in Vermont, New Hampshire, Minnesota, the Dakotas. The winter is here. It's coming in California as well. And it's hard, but we're getting through it. We'll get through it. But it's going to require all of us, I think, a little bit more discipline and focus, a little less finger pointing, a little less jawing back and forth, a little less focus on the differences. And again, what defines this conference is this bottom-up notion, this regionalization framework, this notion of collaborations and partnerships. And Lenny, I know we should segue, but one of the things I'm really proud of in this budget, which, by the way, $80 billion operating surplus, unprecedented in U.S. history, your budget. I don't know, it used to matter, budget surpluses, but maybe it's not as interesting anymore. $80 billion operating surplus.
Yeah, well, here's the problem. Here's the problem with having an operating surplus. We, the people, don't get any of it. The state has a surplus, but I don't fucking have a surplus. I have like, $1,000 in my bank account. And that's more than most people have, but still, what does it buy me with all this fucking hyperinflation, Gavin? What does it buy me?
We have the biggest tax rebate in American history, $12 billion, up to $1,100 for families that we just gave back to folks. Highest reserves in our state's history, highest bond rating in 20 years, $11.3 billion we're paying down on pension obligations. Find a state that's using general fund to pay down long-term pension obligations. And by the way, you're going to have good news coming soon on next year's budget surplus as well. That allows us to do things unprecedented in California's history, and that's invest in you. Invest in human infrastructure, not just physical infrastructure. And $600 million in this year's budget was investment quite literally because of you. Because you inspired an idea the last time we got together in Fresno, the Extraordinary Fresno Drive Collaborative, which inspired many of you in this room and sure inspired me to make a commitment to you that we fulfilled. $600 million that we're putting back in to replicate programs like that, to support your efforts at the local level in 13 key regions in this state, to make sure that our economic recovery is felt by everybody, not just somebody.
So it's going to be like the Hunger Games then. We're going to have 13 different districts. Okay.
Some of us. And to make sure that we're focusing on the divide, particularly that urban-rural divide. And so I'm looking forward to the work you'll be doing over the course of the next number of months as we provide tens of millions of dollars of planning grants and then over $500 million in implementation grants. And we move this agenda forward to galvanize and organize and regionalize an entrepreneurial framework where we can accelerate our transition and accelerate our leadership and dominance economically across the state.
It's terrific. So talked a little bit this morning. We'll talk again tomorrow about SURF, which you're talking about CERF, which is a big plus to try and get regional economic development done in a collaborative way that's really built on a lot of principles that California Forward has. So with that money, the federal infrastructure money, hopefully some Build Back Better dollars in the upcoming federal budget, how do we help ensure that that money actually delivers for the people that you're talking about? The rural-urban divide, the issues of historical racism, the lack of opportunity for too many people. What do we need to do to address that?
Why are we assuming that the people of the rural are considered, why are we assuming their race? First off, why is my friend who, let's say, lives in Arbuckle or Calusa or any other part of Northern California or rural California more specifically, why are we assuming that they're facing racism? I oftentimes remember the days when we thought urban meant black, like urban inner city youths and shit like that. Why are we assuming people's race? And then more specifically, why are we assuming that their race is non-favored?
Well, as you know, our mantra, and it was our mantra when I had the privilege of being Lieutenant Governor, co-chairing the first economic summit we had, was growth and inclusion. You can't have an economic development strategy without a workforce development strategy, and you can't have a strategy that's top-down. You can't sell down your vision. That vision, the state vision, has to be realized at the local level. I say it all the time, localism's determinative. But localism defined by a regional framework and recognizing the unique regional characteristics of this state.
I will say this,
So
he
often in
does
Sacramento, we talk
come
about
off
the
as
aggregate,
a
we live in the aggregate.
charismatic
There's somewhere in the state,
individual.
there's business somewhere in the state, there's strengths and weaknesses that are defined distinctively. That's why our approach to COVID has been bottom-up similarly. And our approach to economic and workforce development needs to be defined accordingly. What I love about the Fresno Drive, what I love about what happened with the Better Bakersfield efforts and Kern is this framework of partnership, public-public partnership, not just public-private. Partnering with community colleges, our extraordinary public universities, CSU, UCs, developing collaborations, and extending our capacity by connecting more dots. So the key for me in answering that question, we're going to fund success. We want to fund strategies and plans, but we also want to fund leaders and we want to fund doers. At the end of the day, there's just no substitute for doers in entrepreneurial thinking. We want to fund iteration. We want folks that have a mindset of, ready, fire, let's go. I don't want to wait for the perfect. And that's why we jump-started with the $600 million, these regional grants, but we want to keep driving that. You identify the needs, we want to be your partner and develop those needs, and we want to drive more investment from the private sector, not just the public sector.
He does, doesn't he, Gamson? He does really remind me of Patrick Bateman. I mean, his mannerisms, his just the way he goes, it's so fucking artificial. It's HR speak. I want to work hard, bro. I want to, create a business. Like it's dude bro shit, but for like the corporate culture. It's like 40-year-old dude bro shit.
Over $40 billion, we're still plus or minus, counting up all the money that came from the $1.2 trillion package that was just approved by Congress. That's a big deal. But I want to put it in perspective. This year we put $4 billion of our budget surplus for electric vehicles in the state. The federal government's infrastructure plan, unprecedented investment in transforming and transformation, is $384 million over 5 years for electric vehicles. The state put up $4 billion. My point is only saying this. Mad respect for the federal government, there's still no substitute for your state. Our state investments are profound and need to maintain in terms of their prominence. And we can't just look to Washington, D.C. to solve all these problems. But nonetheless, we are at a point of real abundance across the spectrum. Our ability to invest an unprecedented amount of money in infrastructure and in human capital. And we want to do that on the basis of real strategies and regional collaboratives. And so that's how we ultimately advance that cause. And we're trying to do it across the spectrum with the earned income tax credit, expanding childcare, all the stuff they're debating in Washington, D.C. right now, all of that's been accomplished in California. Early childhood education, we created a brand new grade this year, TK. It's no longer K through 12, it's TK to 16. We have free community college in California. We significantly expanded childcare subsidies for 2.
Well, let me just say this about the free community college. When you make free community college, you make mandatory community college. You can't just go to trade school anymore. When you have a government that subsidizes these things, you make it eventually mandatory. I don't want to have to go to community college. Like, I might do it just for the lulz and like do a vlog of what the fuck it's like to be in California as a community college, and I'll show the curriculum as I do it, just to fuck with people. But like, honestly, I really don't want to be here anymore. And I know that if I lose my job, I'm heading the fuck out. And yeah, everything that he said about entrepreneurs and young people and building back better and all this other, political salad, it applies to me. Okay, I'm one of the people who actually was on the streets, worked his ass off, and got ahead. And I'm basically ahead of most of my peers now, except for those in tech still. But again, I don't want to be a part of your California dream anymore. I want Arizona sunshine. I want fucking, I want, the desert. I want fucking Pandora. I want guns. I want fatty foods. I want, everything that fucking, the guy from, the guy from fucking, what the fuck is it? The Demolition Man wanted. I want fatty foods. I want, cholesterol. I want all those things. But you're not going to give it to me, because eventually what you're going to fucking do is you're going to fucking tax this stuff. You're going to weaponize the state, and you're going to weaponize things that you don't like, and you're going to tax it. And the things you do like, you're going to fucking incentivize it. Let's see.
200,000 new slots. Created child savings accounts. Unprecedented. There's not a state in America that's ever done this. 3.7 million kids are going to get their own savings and checking accounts, which is really amazing. I think it's kind of cool.
Whoa. What the fuck did you just say?
Own accounts. Unprecedented. We significantly expanded childcare subsidies for 200,000 new slots. Created child savings accounts. Unprecedented. There's not a state in America that's ever done this. 3.7 million kids are going to get their own savings and checking accounts.
Okay. So what are we going to do? Get them when they're young? We're going to give a bunch of goodies to the kids and they'll vote for Republicans? Chad, am I fucking drunk? Like, I know I'm a little bit tipsy because of the wine, but like, real talk. He just said that Californian kids are gonna get their own checking account. I think you have to have you have to be 18 to at least own a checking account. I could be wrong about that. I absolutely could be fucking wrong, but we're gonna give kids checking accounts now. What's next? We're gonna let them fucking take out student student loans at fucking 15 or 12? Like, no, real talk. Like, why is, everyone's talking about what the fuck, where's Newsom? Well, he just fucking came out of the ether just now and said that we're going to, like, what I got away from this is that he was trick-or-treating with his kids, and we're going to give kids checking accounts now. Like, I didn't get a checking account until I was like 18, 20, okay? Real talk.
Which is really amazing, I think. It's kind of cool. And we want to use those accounts not only to create a college-going culture, billions of dollars will be invested in that, but we also want to use it to create a framework around financial literacy, address the issue not just of income, but of wealth divides. And that goes to the issue, Lenny, again, of equity. We've doubled the earned income tax credit. We've extended paid family leave. We've done a lot of the things that are deeply part of our equity agenda, but from an economic development framework, again.
Equity, not equality. So that means, instead of saying we all have the same shot and some people win, some people lose, no, we all have to win or we all lose. Like, it's Marxism.
Is foundational in terms of advancing that goal.
Okay. One other core element of that economic development is that it not only needs to be vibrant and growing and inclusive and equitable, but also needs to be sustainable and resilient given everything that we see hitting us from wildfires to mudslides to rising sea levels and things. So how does the state and how should we be thinking going forward about embedding sustainability and the transition into our plans? So California Forward helped co-sponsor a deliberative poll that I sent you the results of.
$5 says that what Gavin's gonna fucking do with this whole checking account thing is he's gonna make every kid have a checking account, and then he's gonna fucking throw a bunch of money, like $1,000. Can you imagine as a 16-year-old getting $1,000? Like, imagine all the cars these kids would fucking get. Could you imagine, like, I guarantee you, he's gonna buy out the fucking youth. He's gonna buy them off with this COVID shit. He's gonna buy them off. I already know it. I mean, I don't even know what to do with this. Like let me just tell you a story real quick. Let's have a story time with Dash and Grog for a second. Okay? Perfect example of perfect clip right now. All right? When I was younger, I found a wallet with my mom. All right? We were gonna return it. Now, me being a little shit that I was, I fucking took. It had like $2,000 in it. I took about $1,500 and gave my mom $500. She didn't know about it. She went into Taco Bell, whatever the hell it was, to use the bathroom, whatever it might have been. I took the money. I took $1,500 from a wallet I didn't even know. I thought it was like mom money or whatever. I stole money, okay? I don't know who it was. I can't remember. It was like when I was younger. I fucking wasted that money. I legitimately wasted that money when I was younger, and I bought Magic the Gathering cards. I just pumped. When I bought everything I wanted, all I had was things that I needed. Or when I bought everything I needed, I just ran out of money. It was just burning a hole in my pocket, and I squandered every fucking penny of it. What the fuck do you think is going to happen when we have a bunch of kids just spending money on fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic, and they start buying, the newest phone and all this shit, all this. I'm not even kidding. Like, it could work, but at the same fucking time, how much do you think they're going to put into crypto? Part of me wants to stay just for them to give me the fucking money at this point and just run as hell. Like, can I, dual citizenship in California? I don't know. But, again, they're going to buy off the fucking voter. They're going to buy off the voter base. Guarantee it.
That talked about widespread bipartisan support for climate, more government.
Oh, they'll incentivize it, Wolf. They'll incentivize it.
People who are going to be disadvantaged transition. So how do we think about those things?
I was talking to my staff the other day about our MOU under 2, where we have 235 subnational organizations that have signed up, and we were looking forward after the 6th assessment to going to COP in Glasgow, that's COP 26, to make an announcement of our new signatories. And my staff went, "What did you just say?" I said, "Well, our MOU under 2, or at least to get 1.5, to hold to 1.5 degrees." They said, "Is that Celsius or Fahrenheit?" I said, "Celsius." I said, "What is Celsius?"
He doesn't know what Celsius is.
Am I understanding under 2? Okay. I mean, the language we use on climate is an abomination.
Amen.
And so we need to start changing language and use human speak.
Human speak.
Extreme weather. It's about lifestyles. It's about traditions.
Oh.
Ask the folks in Greenville about traditions and lifestyles. Greenville was wiped off the map. Ask the folks at Grizzly Flats in the Calder Fire about traditions and lifestyles. Their community was wiped off the map. Yesterday we announced the 3rd anniversary and our marking efforts of cleaning up and resiliency up there at the campfire in Paradise. Wiped off the map. That's climate change. Our kids.
No, that's fucking fires. We have 5 seasons now in California: spring, summer, fall, winter, fire. That's fire. Gavin. That's you not wanting to fucking, trim the bushes and clear the debris. So that way, if there's ever a fire, it's a small fire, not a big one where I legitimately have to, like, buy a gas mask and we have Blade Runner. Like Blade Runner weather in fucking, the Silicon Valley where it's all orange and shit. Like, real talk. Like, go look up, what was it? Like, the wildfires and look up, like, pictures of it just fucking crimson like it's fucking Blade Runner, okay? It existed.
These are, their lungs are filled with smoke. We're heating up, we're choking up, we're burning up as a state. My kids are likely, your kids, not my grandkids, not your our kids are likely to live in a world with average temperatures, Fahrenheit, 8 degrees average hotter than they are today. What more damn evidence do you need than your own eyes? You may not believe in climate change, climate science, global warming, you have to believe your own eyes. And so we're the tip of the spear in terms of the consequences of our neglect to decarbonize. We have to be on the leading edge of the solution, and we are. We're the first state in the United States to require all vehicles, purchase new vehicles by 2035 to be alternative fuel vehicles. You saw the automobile companies catch up to that and mark a commitment to align with California. We're the first oil-producing state in U.S. history to announce.
We need to go bankrupt. Like, I'll just say it. Like, the only way California is gonna, like, you want to divorce from California? I think what we need is have California go bankrupt. All the fucking millionaires and billionaires go fucking bankrupt. Because this, let's be frank, they're not millionaires and billionaires. They're just millionaires and billionaires on paper.
Where we will no longer extract fossil fuels in this state. We just did. I know that's tough on folks. That's why we're putting unprecedented money in real transition dollars in resiliency. It's part of the $600 million we put out for planning grants to accelerate transitions. This state is doing some remarkable things, and I'm really proud of that. But perhaps most significantly,
I mean, if they really wanted to, just have a fucking Toyota hybrid. Just have hybrids. That's what I would do. I mean, don't go full on fucking electric. Just have a hybrid. Let me just say this about the hybrids. The Prius is great because it generates its own power, but also could be used for gas. Okay, like I would like from a purely technological perspective, if you had solar energy, like you could plug it into the freaking wall as well as charge it by the sun and have gas. And let's say you have wind just to throw it on there. I'd buy it in a heartbeat simply because, not because of the environment, because I have a bunch of fucking abilities to charge my car and I don't have to worry about it anymore. That would sound cool. I'd be all for it. But I'm not gonna fucking immediately say, oh, well, let's get rid of one energy source in favor of another. No, fuck that. Let's have both. Fucking have both. And then that way we ease off of it. You can't just fucking, ease off of oil. Now, don't get me wrong. I think we should just ease off of oil for other reasons besides climate. I mean, the political backlash of what Russia's doing with their oil pipelines and the Saudis basically having America by the balls, and they did that back in the 70s as well. There's a lot of reasons to get off oil and petro. It's not just the climate. And how much of this is just them using the climate as an example?
This year, we put $15 billion of general fund up to make California more future-proof by focusing on resiliency. $5.2 billion for drought and resiliency, for infrastructure and safe drinking water, and consolidating our smaller community wells and systems. We are investing an unprecedented amount of money, as I noted, in that transition, our infrastructure on electric vehicles. We are putting more investment in forest management, active forest management, vegetation management, reforestation dollars, healthy soils, regenerative ag. It's a really exciting budget. And again, that budget is larger than any other nation's investment that we've ever seen in this space. And I think change the language, continue the investments, and focus on how our economy is strengthened by this transition and not burdened in any way, shape, or form.
Okay. It's obviously premature to talk about what the budget's going to be, but as you're looking into the next year, you still have, when you did the State of the State a couple years ago, the whole State of the State was on housing and homelessness as a core affordability.
Yeah. Speaking of which, these guys, everyone in the fucking audience is wearing the little bikinis on their face, but these two fuckers, I just noticed it now, they're not wearing masks. Where the fuck is his mask? Where's his mask?
In the state. What are going to be some of the things that we ought to be thinking about as we head into 2022?
Well, I mean, we've got to deal with quality of life. We've got to deal with homelessness. We've got to deal with cleaning the state and the streets, cleaning up our thoroughfares, our underpasses, our overpasses, removing graffiti, dealing with encampments. We put $1.1 billion up for an initiative called Clean California. Caltrans' biggest investment ever was $90 million to clean up thoroughfares. We put $1.1 billion this year. We've identified 100 encampments that are priority encampments, working with local officials as a dynamic list to start working to clean up encampments in a thoughtful and strategic way. We put $3 billion This is the most significant investment since the infamous 1967 budget. By the way, I just read a wonderful paper about Ronald Reagan, Governor Reagan's 1967 budget, where he infamously and notably began
He's kissing ass. He knows his ass is on the chopping block. He already fucking knows it. You know, he could steal the election and blame people for spending money, but guess what? Biden's spending more money than most presidents combined, okay? But he's kissing ass. He really wants to have that fucking mansion in Sacramento, okay?
process of completely crippling our capacity to address the mental health issue by defunding state hospitals in the system.
Indeed,
this is the most
DK.
significant new investment on mental health housing, boarding care housing, housing for conservatorships, $3 billion targeted specifically at new slots, new opportunities in that space. We put $6 billion, $5.8 billion for Home Key. Some of you may know a little bit about Home Key. We started buying hotels and motels last year. Seemed an opportunistic time to do it in the midst of the pandemic. A lot were vacant, a lot of people were desperate, a lot of small business owners were very happy that someone
So you just bought it up like a fucking predator trying to gobble up the little guy.
was going to come in and purchase those assets. We were able to purchase 6,000 units in 5.5 months, $846 million. That's 6,000 new permanent housing units for previously homeless individuals, which is incredible in 5.5 months. 846 million, 5.8 billion in this year's budget to replicate that program and get it a whole nother scale. I mean, these are exciting investments. We did 10.3 billion just on affordable housing. You're gonna have the Pro Tem and others, she's the best. I mean, 30 housing bills I signed this year, 30. SB 9, good people can disagree, but I'm really proud of the work the legislature did in that space. On
I'll let you
ADUs,
on, Wolf.
we put $100+ million on affordable home ownership, $800 million on infill grants, $850 million just to address housing that was going to convert from affordable to market rate to keep
Let me
it
get you
affordable.
on real quick.
Comprehensive plan, comprehensive strategy. And we created, and forgive me, I know a lot of you local leaders, and forgive me, but we created a housing accountability unit.
Let me get you on. I'll call you via, was it Discord? Calling you now. You there?
Hear me?
Can we hear? You can hear you. How are you?
Well, you sound like you're a mile away, but I'm on.
Oh, well, I'm right here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you kind of. Hold on. Let me
That better?
say something.
Something.
Okay, that's clearer.
Alrighty, cool. So
More
yeah,
tech hour over.
yeah, no, like I'm of the opinion now, Wolf, Mr. Wolf, that at this point they're gonna buy off the younger the Zoomers. They're gonna buy them off with our taxpayer money. They're gonna give them all this wonderful goodies, and we're gonna have socialism in this country. And at least
We're entering independence in the cycle.
Yeah, it's sick. It really honestly is disgusting because a lot of, again, like DK said, a lot of all that money and no fucking results. And the reason is because some people want to be vagabonds. Some people just want to, be on their own and live on the street. They want to drink and smoke, and they don't really care where they get their next fix as long as they get their next fix. It's fucking sad.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you.
Just get the hell out of California at this point.
Well, you should. The way things are going. I see California kind of break it off because California thinks that they're subsidizing the rest of the country.
Yep. Which is ridiculous. It's bullshit. It really is bullshit. At the end of the fucking day, we're kept alive by so many other people. We live off the kindness of others. We really do. And the taxpayer, I don't want my money to go to this crap anymore. I really don't.
California does produce a lot of food, but I think recently you guys cut off water to the farmers, didn't you?
Yep, we did. And then we actually had to go and get people. We had to give like reserve water to like tech companies to cool their fucking their servers and shit. Like it's like they see the tech companies and they say, oh, these guys are going to rule the world. They're going to rule the world. Let's sacrifice everything and everyone for the fucking almighty power of the technology and machines. It's sick.
I guess nobody's going to need to eat in the future when everybody's just uploaded to the cloud or something.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
that's how they're thinking.
Yeah, they're fucking insane. And I'll be frank with you, he knows his days are numbered. He knows this. Like the fact, yeah,
roboted out on me. What?
he knows his days are numbered. He knows his days are fucking numbered. Does that make any sense?
I don't know. Also, by the way, this pisses me off. I'm just going to say it. Electric vehicles are actually worse to the environment than a gasoline-powered car.
Yep.
It takes way more mining to get the raw materials to make them.
Yep.
And they're gadgets that are thrown away. They're not perpetually kept in the used car market until they're used up.
Yep. And, you know,
Put that out there.
no, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I honestly think what needs to happen is we need to have like a fucking again, we need to have like a universal like what we need to do, and this is something I actually wouldn't mind honestly looking into, is I wouldn't mind looking into like having a universal battery supply for these car companies. Like if we can have like, if you want to talk about incentivizing car companies to make electric vehicles, make a universal car battery. Like legitimately make a universal car battery that will.
You mean like an industry standard?
Yeah, like a form factor, like you know how they have ATX, BTX, and I'm probably showing my age, ITX and shit like that, right? Or AA or AAA or D batteries, right? Do the same fucking thing here. Like that way, you know, if I buy a Ford and I could also then go down the line, like let's say 2 or 3 years or 30 years down the line, I could still use the same charger or the same fucking, you know, battery slot. That would be better. Batteries. Yeah, Vinny's saying batteries still aren't good though. They're not.
The biggest hampering in an EV, which I think they're kind of using, is limited range. Like right now, they're pushing like the electric SUV/truck right now really hard on people like me. They're like, oh, you see, you can still haul things with it and go off road, but if you actually look at the numbers, when you actually do work with an electric truck, you have like no range. The battery tech's not really there now.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, if you think
I'm not saying it won't improve. Like there could be a breakthrough in battery tech for the first time in like 100 years. They have great performance and they have like an 800-mile range while towing a ton of shit. I don't know.
Yeah, but
like, no, it's not right now.
It's not, but at the same time, keep in mind, you know, you're limited by the range, and if they don't want you to go somewhere, they will not build those outposts.
No, and that's probably the main reason why they're pushing it. That and dependency on the electrical grid that they can shut off.
They could easily. Yep.
I mean, technically, you can charge them on your own power, but it takes forever.
The communists have always hated the car because the car is an individualistic experience that only one person can pilot the car at a time, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm going to continue.
Really,
yeah.
If they were worried about the environment, the way to go would be push for electric drive, but onboard power generation. So you would still have a gasoline engine or diesel, and you'd probably want a battery reserve, so it's not running on it all the time. And some cars actually do this. High-end sports cars do this. And the engine just powers a generator, and then it drives the electric drive of the car. And that's actually the most efficient way to do it.
Yeah.
But it's not really about what's the best technology.
It's about whoever lines Gavin Newsom's pocket, or the politician's pocket for that matter.
Yeah, that's probably the main reason.
So I'm going to continue with this. We only have about a couple minutes left in this, and then we're going to get into Biden. So if you want to stick around for that, that'll be interesting.
Because you know what? Everybody talks a big game, but local government continues to be the biggest impediment to new construction in this state, in NIMBYism. And so the Housing Accountability Unit is going to hold local governments accountable to their housing element, to their RENA goals. For the first time, the state is actually going to monitor that. And know this, we weren't shy. If you're from Huntington Beach, you remember this. We sued you because you weren't even planning for housing at all income levels, let alone developing it. And we identified 46 other cities that we were going to sue, but we were able to work through our differences. We're stepping up our enforcement and our accountability, not just putting up more money. So housing, homelessness, continuing our unprecedented education investments, continuing to reduce the cost of college, continuing to do the kinds of things that they're still debating in Washington, D.C. Again, focusing on a just and equitable recovery, and always mindful that the number 1, 2, 3, 4 issue in the state of California in terms of economic growth and recovery is addressing COVID and getting COVID behind it. If I just may end on this. Our time's up. This is hard for me to say because it makes you even more unpopular than I am in many camps. Last year at this time,
Yep.
we all were bemused and confused when we saw a few states starting to see an increase in COVID. It's as if we learned nothing in the last year. The coverage of Colorado, somewhat inexplicable, they say. We really don't know why they're seeing an increase.
Yeah, because in California,
why the
needs
Northeast
more housing
experiencing
regulations.
Yeah, again, zoning laws are killing this they're killing my country. They're killing my fucking area. You want to know why businesses are falling apart? I mean, like my church right now, they can't find any place to have a church because they can't just, they have to have like a specific area that it's already expensive as it is in California, but they have to have a specific area where they could have a bunch of like enough parking spaces, enough let's say people, the fire codes are up to snuff. There's so much fucking laws regarding housing. So if they're gonna I'll just say it, get out what you can, because I'll tell you this, let's just let Gavin Newsom finish.
An increase. California is now experiencing an increase. Well, we know why. There's a seasonality to COVID. It's not particularly difficult after a couple of years to understand. You see those trends in Europe. You see those trends extend in other parts of the globe. Unfortunately, that's what's happening here in your state, our state. This time
My state.
We had just shy of 5,000 cases a year ago today. In 4 weeks, last year, went from 5,000 to 23,000. In 8 weeks, it went to 54,000 cases, like that. We're getting body bags and mobile morgues down in Southern California in a matter of weeks. The positivity rate, I remember it like it was yesterday, December 8th, 2020. I remember it. It broke 10% last year. Positivity rate this year compared to last year, case rates, 3,900, so 4,000 versus 5, within a margin of error. Positivity rates within a margin of error. Already starting to see hospitalizations go back up. ICUs. It's the winter surge. And that's why I cannot impress you more. Get that booster shot. It's
No.
safe.
No, it's not.
Save your life.
No, it won't.
Work. I got mine on the 27th. Literally, the flu shot is what I'm still a little sore about. Literally, not figuratively, a little sore about. Not the booster shot. We've got to keep those boosters up, and we've got to be mindful that the job's not done. You can't spike the ball. We have to do. I know you all sitting here with masks on, going, "Why the hell do I still have to have a mask on?" For good reason.
Why do you? No. Not why do I have to have a mask on? Why do you not have to have a mask on? I think a lot of people here are wondering why the fuck is this guy speaking in front of all these people? All these. It's a super spreader event, isn't it? Like even the guy.
He's more equal.
But he's more equal than us. He's powered by Marxist-Leninist super socialism that keeps him alive and keeps him young. And the blood of the children as well.
He does sound like he's just recovered from something.
Yeah, he does. He does. He really
got
does.
that cracky voice you get when you've had too much phlegm and a sore throat.
That and like he hasn't drank it in a while. He's gonna need to get some water or something.
Still have a lot of work to do. Last week we literally were planning out our winter surge strategy, pre-positioning assets in anticipation of what's going to happen in the next few weeks, making sure we have staffing not only within the state, but that we have organized potential staffing that we'll have to bring in from out of the state. I don't want to tell you that because I don't want it to be true, but the data bears this out, and you're going to start seeing this all across the Northeast, Midwest, the Dakotas. Seeing it in Minnesota right now. You're going to start seeing it here in California, probably in Oregon and Washington. It's nothing to panic about. It's just something to be mindful of as we continue to do more in vaccinations. And I'll just end on this, and I know I've gone over. Thank you. This has been amazing. Your nation-leading efforts in getting vaccinated. 55.6 million doses in the state of California have been administered. 89, this is an actual number. I remember this guy every morning is what I wake up to. Kids crying and vaccination numbers. 89.7%. 90% of all adults have received at least one dose. But we still have work to do. So thank you for everything you've done. We were able to get through the summer with the lowest case rates in America, but we're now 16th lowest in a matter of weeks. Still have work to do. We'll get through the next 7-8 weeks. We'll be stronger on the other side. Our economy will continue to dominate. And mark my words, as I said, eat your heart out, Texas. But Lenny, eat your heart out, Texas. And I'm going to now, a little punctuation, especially Florida.
He's
California
jealous of
continues to dominate
DeSantis.
in every category. I appreciate all of you. Thank you for all your incredible work. I'm really proud of you. And thank you for the privilege of this conversation.
And fuck you, Gavin. Like legitimately, fuck you, Gavin. Go away and die. Super spreader Newsom. Yep. Parker says he got a shot full of fake boob filler. Maybe, I don't know. That might work. I mean, that sounds like something he might do. Maybe that's his kink. Oscar Toe, he got a shot of saline. Perhaps that might very well be the case. But yeah, he's red. He's like Jim Goad levels of red right now. I don't know if they're just all blushing and they're all, just spooked out, but Let's see, Parker. Good work on the Californians who refused the jab. Yeah, absolutely. I am not like, call me whatever you want. I'm not. I will die before I fucking take that jab. If they would say we can't have you at this work anymore, fine, bye, see ya.
They're not even talking about it where I'm at.
Yeah, they're not. Like these people.
Like, I did have a friend. Their company was talking about it, but apparently, like the entire lab's threatening to leave. So.
Yep.
It's happening.
Yep. And remember, they need you. You don't need them. And I'm more than willing to go to Arizona. I'm more than willing to go into the fucking Pandora of fucking it's basically Pandora from fucking Borderlands, okay? And I'm willing to do that. I'm more than willing to just uproot and leave. And it's gonna be sad if that's the case. But the moment you fucking enforce the vaccine mandate is the moment I say, okay, 30-day notice, goodbye, see ya. You're going to have to, or actually, I'm not even going to do that. I'm going to make them fire me. I'm going to fucking pull some shenanigans at work. Make them fire me. I don't know.
Shenanigans. Just refuse it.
Yeah, I'm going to refuse it, but here's the thing, if I get fired, I get my fucking unemployment. If I quit 30-day notice, I get to have the guys, I get to go, I do it to myself, One, I get more money. The other one, I don't get money. So what would I do? Like in reality speaking, like I should be a good person and say, you know what? Sorry, sir, I can't do this anymore. I'm leaving. Here's my 30 notice. But the truth be told is I'll probably just show up to work fucking either wearing I'll just wear a hat. Like I'll do something spoofy. Like I'll start pushing the limit just to see how far I could go before I fucking... I'll show up with like a novelty giant sunglasses and just be fucking obnoxious. Just see how far I could push it. But
Oscar Toe in the chat. Call me cynical, but I highly doubt these politicians or powerful people are getting their shots.
They're not.
Maybe, I don't know. I think the shot is largely just an experimental drug, and the companies are mining money via tax dollars, and it's just being used as a loyalty test. I don't think it's intentionally going to sterilize or kill a bunch of people. It may just sterilize and kill a bunch of people, but if it is, it's not really on purpose, in my opinion.
So now we're going to get to this gentleman. This was released just today. I don't know much, but I'll tell you this: Beijing Biden may not. Actually, it's just Joe Biden. I don't like the idea of Beijing Biden because that just blames all the crap on the Chinese, and it's not. I mean, there is the Russians too. I mean, keep in mind he basically greenlighted the fucking Nord Stream 2 pipeline, which enabled Russia to basically get a de facto oil monopoly in the region. He also shut down our oil in the United States.
He wants to shut another pipeline down too, right before winter.
Oh, goody.
That would be great. Yeah.
Fucking piece of shit. But one of the things I noticed about this whole thing is that Biden is the only president I remember who needed to have subtitles. You can say whatever you want about him being owned by the Chinese, but make no mistake, he has to have subtitles like his Hong Kong handlers would be. Let's continue.
I know a lot of Americans are worried whether or not there's going to be enough stock on the shelves for Thanksgiving and for Christmas, where they're going to be able to get what you need because was a short supply last year because of COVID and a range of other things. But I just got off the phone with the largest retailers in America, and here's what they came up with. They all told me that things are really moving along. One of the things I did several months ago was speed up the operation on the ports on the West Coast that have 40% of all the goods that come through the Pacific Ocean. And we moved way, way along in terms of getting more products in and letting people know that they're going to be available.
He reminds me of John Henry Eden from fucking Fallout. You know that? He reminds me of Malcolm McDowell's character from Fallout 3. He really does remind me, for all I know, this guy is not even real, and he's just like a fucking robot or something. He really does come off like the type of archetypical politician, like America, I'm gonna get you, I'm a wisecracker. Oh, I remember back in the day, died in the sock hops and shit like that. He reminds me of that. But at the same time, I know his track record. And again, this is a presentation. this is like staged, obviously. I mean, they even have subtitles, for fuck's sake. They're going to be available.
We've also moved how to get them from the ports to the stores, from the stores to your doors. And the bottom line is all the folks I spoke with, not just the East Coast, but the West Coast, they just all are confident that things are going to be much different Thanksgiving and a much different Christmas this year.
Oh, they'll be different, Joe. I mean, have you looked at the inflation index? Like, I'm at the point where even when I have a little bit of money that I have, I'm still going to fucking give out. I'm at the point where the first time this year, I'm actually going to do a turkey drive at my church. I'm going to give some of that extra money that I've earned to fucking make sure that everyone gets a turkey. I'm doing it. You know, call me a socialist or whatever the fuck you want. I'm giving back to the community that I honestly feel survivor's guilt for earning. For earning while everyone else is falling apart. I'm giving back to my community. So.
And so the expectation is it's not going to be like this time last year. You're going to be able to get to the store, get to your place, get to the outlets you're looking for, get the products you need, the gifts you want. That's what we've been working on. And that's why when I passed this thing called the infrastructure bill, that has a lot of money in it to improve our ports, improve our highways, improve our transportation systems, bring down cost, and also create good jobs. So that's what this is all about, getting back to normal, getting back to a place where we lead the world again in our infrastructure, and we lead the world again and continuing to be the fastest growing.
I could have sworn it was California that was leading in the fastest growing job, fastest growing economy, fastest growing infrastructure. I could have sworn it was California just a second ago, but why not? Sure.
Economy in the world.
I can't believe Newsom mentioned my state in a comparison of economic growth.
He's a piece of shit, dude. You know,
either California's doing really shitty or my state's doing really well. I don't know.
Honestly, dude, it depends on the heuristic. It depends on how you want to look at the world. Even if it's DK says, even when it's pre-recorded, he can't talk properly. No, he can't. He's like he has like a lisp or something. Sleepy Joe's at it again. Yeah.
I mean, he's gone mentally.
Yep. He's like
surprised they kept the charade going as long as it's had.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if we have like a scenario where it's like in Resident Evil 7 where like the crazy kid or whatever is moving the guy's arm, like the guy's dead obviously and he's moving his arm and they're playing poker and shit. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like Weekend at Bernie's stuff.
Let's see. When he finally just kills over, they just stuff him and like attach fishing line to his arms.
Yep. It's like, yeah. So DK says Arizona's doing better than California. Yeah, but by what heuristic? Like, if Arizona publishes a heuristic and they force California to say, well, this is our heuristic, what are you going to do about it? And they actually say, well, why, by what heuristic is California questioning it? If we published a heuristic, we could easily debunk them. And we can't just publish statistics, we have to start publishing our heuristics. Job growth. Okay, what type of jobs? Are we talking like H-1B visa jobs where it's only 3 months and then you're out on your own, you're gone, you can't plan ahead for the future because it's only 3 months? Are we talking $15 an hour minimum wage jobs? Are we talking about, salary jobs? What are we talking about when it comes to jobs? Those are heuristics we could actually look into. DK says, my store was filled up minus toilet paper rationing. Yeah, that's another thing. I've only seen toilet paper that has been out of stock in my area. Now, granted, I'm right next to the coast, so who knows?
I mean, people use toilet paper, but we also don't use toilets.
Yeah, well, you don't use toilets? Do you? What?
Californians don't use toilets. I mean,
yeah. I mean, some of them don't. I mean, I can remember walking into a place I was working at, and they actually had a sign saying, "Please do not stand on the toilet seat." They said, please sit down on the toilet seat when in use. Don't stand. So the idea was, I guess it was some H-1B visa who fucking doesn't understand that there's a thing called there are no such things as designated shitting streets in California. There are none. And you sit down on the toilet. You don't fucking stand or do a fucking jumping jacks on the toilet or whatever the fuck they do to take a shit. But yeah, like our culture is being totally decimated. I mean, we used to be like the surf bros and the the surf bros and the fucking Hollywood stars and Marilyn Monroe. Now we're basically a bunch of tech. I wouldn't even say tech oligarchs, but like fucking, we're having like the racial caste system, like the Hindu caste system emerge in the tech industry nowadays. We're seeing that again. Media Hit says, where the price hikes due to COVID? I don't know. I mean, I'm seeing them, but I mean, how much of this is actually true and how much of this is just the government or the Biden regime keeping prices down for the blue states as opposed to and forsaking the red states? Because at this point, he knows that the red states are not his customers. If that makes any sense. So he's going to serve the people who are giving him repeat business. Does that make any sense?
The prices are going up in combination of inflation and lack of supply.
Yep.
As things are being made / imported. Which also apparently part of the reason the supply chain is so slow is because California regulations make it where like they won't let in certain trucks into the port or the state. Yep. So the companies have their more efficient trucks go through California to the port and then go to the other states where they switch trucks and then ship out to the rest of the country, so that delays it.
Yep, a lot of these fucking government mandates. Yeah, no. It's not my fault. It's fucking Gavin Newsom's fault. He's a piece of shit. I mean, a lot of these problems are self-inflicted. You know, a lot of them are self-inflicted, and it's sad. Anyhow, the main reason I brought this up is because, for the first time ever, we only have a president that has to have subtitles. And I first thought of this.
Hey, don't go. It's too dangerous.
I don't care. Come on, Caroline.
Yeah. It reminds me of fucking like one of those weird, bad dubbed fucking Japanese Asian fucking films where they don't match the lip sync at all. No, sorry about that. Subtitle. Anyhow, but that's basically it for the Rogue Report. Yeah, everyone, welcome, or not welcome, but for those of you who are still here, remember Saving the West is a side quest, and that's pretty much all we got for all I got for this month's or this day's Rogue Report. I might do it every so often, but if I ever see something worth talking about, I'll bring it back. All right. So this is the Rogue Report out.